Good morning, everyone. I hope you guys are all doing good today. I wanted to talk to you guys about pushing medications through your feeding tube, whether it's your J-tube or your G-tube. First and foremost, the most important thing you guys need to know is not all medications can be pushed through your feeding tube. You can obviously, pretty much any medication you can push through your G-tube if you want, but pushing it through your J-tube is a little bit different because it gets absorbed by the small intestines rather quickly. So some medications, if they're like long-term release, you should not do that. Your pharmacist or your doctor can clarify if you can put it through your J-tube. I have one medication, Celexa. It's an antidepressant medication that we are using to try and control my pain. That has to be slowly absorbed, so that actually goes into my G-tube rather than my J-tube. Everything else that I use does go through my J-tube. So I wanted to show you guys how I prepare. This makes it the easiest for me after trying so many different things. So the first thing that I grab is baby wipes. I always have those on hand in case I spill a medication, or the syringe for some reason doesn't work and medication goes everywhere. You know, you just never know. I also do my medications sitting on my bed, so to protect my blankets and my sheets so that I don't have to constantly be washing them. I have a chuck pad that I use, and I just drape that over my legs. And then I also always have a piece of paper towel in case I need to dry something up. So the first thing that I make sure to do is have all my supplies together. I have water, which is room temperature. We choose, for me, to use nothing but bottled water, because if you go to the tap, sometimes it can be too cold, and really cold water in your intestines hurts a lot. So, you know, it is a little more expensive, but we use the bottled water. We get it from Costco, you know, the big stacks of water, and I always have about 4 or 5 in my cabinet, and so if I finish one, I can just grab another. I also have a cup, which I pour my water into, because obviously the syringes don't fit through this small cap, and so I pour the water in here to draw up water in the syringes. So the first thing that I usually do is pour water into my cup, and you'll get the hang of it to know about how much that you need to get however you want many to flush. So I pour water into my cup. The second thing I do is I get my flush syringe ready. So I just fill that up with water. And so now this syringe is ready for me when I'm ready to flush all my medications. So if you are taking pills, if they're in capsule forms, you can open up the capsules. If they are in pill form, you can get a pill crusher and crush the pill. Make sure to crush it as good as possible. And put it in one of the pill cups. Sorry, sometimes some of it gets stuck and doesn't come all the way out. You gotta tap it. There we go. And then I'll drop some water in the syringe that I'm going to use. I think it just broke on me. Oh, there we go. Okay. There we go. So I'll drop just a little bit of water and mix it. And you want to mix it really well to where it's completely dissolved, because if there's any chunks, it could potentially clog your feeding tube, and then you can't get it unclogged at home, you end up in the hospital, and it's just not fun. So you want to make sure to dilute it very well. And I usually will drop what I have in the syringe, and then I will add just a little bit more water to make sure that I have all the medication that was in there, because it can get spread over the entire cup. So now that's ready for you to use. This medication actually I'm only using when I'm getting my dystonic episodes, so I'm not using it right now, but I thought it'd be a good way to show you guys how to do pill medications. Then usually before I place it, into my, or before I'm getting ready to push it, I'll shake it some more and make sure that whatever has settled is now mixed again. And then actually, once I put it in the port, I'll push in a little bit and I'll shake it again and push in a little bit and shake it again. That way it's continuously mixed up properly. So, next comes liquid medications. I have 3 medications I'm going to be pushing. So I have 3 separate syringes. One of them is my pain medication, which I need to shake a little bit. And the pharmacy I go to has these dosing caps, so that you can just put the syringe in and flip it, and nothing will spill out, and you can get a proper dose of your medication. If for some reason your pharmacy does not have dosing caps, you can buy them on Amazon. But just make sure to be careful. There are 2 different sizes, because, not each medication has the same opening. So, I usually drop all my medications first. So that's 1 medication. My pain medication makes me itch, so I get Benadryl, and I've also placed a dosing cap in the Benadryl. I'll draw that up. To 20. For those of you who use children's Benadryl, to get the 50 milligram dose, which is 2 pills of Benadryl tablets, capsules, or whatever, you use 20 milliliters of the children's Benadryl, because it's for each 5 milliliters it's 12.5 milligrams. And then I'm also going to be taking Tylenol. One of the things that I do want to mention is that Tylenol, for some reason, the regular children's Tylenol is a very thick consistency, and when I was using it, by the time I was able to push all 30 milliliters in, it was making me quite sick. So we tried the dye-free kind, and even though the dye-free kind is thick also, it's not as thick, so it's easier to push. So, with children's Tylenol, to get a full dose of, I believe it's extra strength Tylenol, you would do 30 milliliters. So we'll go ahead and get the 30 milliliters out. There we go. And I don't know if you guys can just see how slow moving it moves. So then all my medications are drawn up. If you have a button, obviously you place your extension in. I keep my extension in all the time because I don't want to have to deal with, you know, picking it up you know, hooking it up and not hooking it up and things like that, because sometimes when you take off your extension, fluids can come out, and I'm not a big fan of the fluids that come out of your small intestines, so I avoid it as much as possible. So let me adjust this so that you guys can see what I'm about to do. Oops. Alright, so sorry, just trying to get this worked out. There we go. So I've got my extension tubing. If you have a long tube, sometimes they have a clamp on it, sometimes they don't. If they don't have a clamp on it, I advise squishing it with your finger so that nothing comes up and not too much air goes in. This has a clamp on it though, so I open it up, and I usually do the smallest dose of medication first. And when I insert the syringe, the first thing that I do is I draw back to make sure that there's no air that's going to be going in. So then I'll push the medication. Clamp it. Move on to my next medication. Again, draw back so that there's no air. Clamp it, and then my Tylenol, and again I'm going to take as much of the air out as I can, and then I'll start to push the Tylenol. And with the Tylenol, because it's so thick, goes a little slower pushing, even though I am pushing as hard as I would have on the other ones. But it's just that thick. But for some reason, the dye-free kind is not as thick as the dye, the red kind or the purple kind or any of that. It's grape flavored, but obviously going to my small intestines, I'm not tasting that. Some medications I can. When my pain medication gets absorbed, I actually do get that orange taste in my mouth that it's supposed to be. Or if I'm in the hospital they make my formula, they give me the formula that's flavored with vanilla, and it gives me this really weird taste in my mouth. But those are about the only two things that I can actually taste when they go through my gjtube. So we'll get this pushed in. Much as possible. There we go. I'll go ahead and clamp it again. And then with my cup of water, the extra water that's going to be used to flush anyways, I will draw it up in the syringe, shake it a little, and put it back in. That way my syringe is now clean. And whatever residual medication was in there is in the water, which is going to get flushed through your tube anyways. So now they're all clean, and I'm going to take my first syringe of water, so 60 milliliters, 60 cc's of just plain water. And I'll go ahead and get that pushed through. Now, I have visceral hypersensitivity, which is overactive nerves in my small intestines. So I feel this as it's going in. But most people do not, so I have to push slower, otherwise it could make me sick. So, got my first 60 cc's in. And like I say, the more water the better. It's not going to harm you. It's going to help keep you hydrated. It helps ensures that your tube is clean. Especially after using a thick medication like Tylenol. It never hurts to just do a second batch. So, I get another 60 cc's. And push that in. And now I'm done. Everybody can develop their own routine for how they do medications. This is just the easiest way for me, is to draw up everything, do the medications, and then flush the first time and clean out all the syringes, take that and flush again. And flushing is a big deal to me. In my gjtube, I will only flush about 5 to 10 milliliters. Because I'm getting a medication that is 20 milliliters already, and I can't handle a lot of water after that. But my gjtube, I stress flushing as much as possible, because it's going to help you stay hydrated. It can prevent clogs. It really doesn't harm you to flush more water in there if you need to. You can also flush with Pedialyte or Gatorade. I was just telling one of my new tubey sisters this morning, if your blood sugar is low, you can use Gatorade to push through your J-tube, and that will help you get your blood sugar up. I've had to do that a couple of times myself because I am hypoglycemic, and sometimes the tube feeds and the saline that I use, which has dextrose in its sugar, is not enough. And I can feel my blood sugar drop. So we found that using Gatorade is a very quick and efficient way to get my blood sugar back up, and doing that through my J-tube. If you're ever very sick, you can also run, and you're not running your feeds, run Pedialyte through your J-tube. It'll keep you hydrated so you won't get dehydrated, which is a big thing when you're sick. And that's going to help your body fight whatever illness you're going through at the same time. One thing that I did want to show you before I end this is what the dosing caps look like. And you can reuse dosing caps. You just take them off the old bottle and put them on a new one. Except I cannot get my finger under this one. Don't ever use something sharp when trying to lift the dosing cap up, like a knife or the edge of scissors. Because that will poke a hole in it and render your cap useless now. There we go. So this is what a dosing cap looks like. And all you do is you just put it on top, make make sure it's the right size so it doesn't fall in. And then you just push it down. And then when I push it down, I always make sure that the seal is there properly. By just putting in a random syringe and turning it upside down and holding it upside down for about a minute or so. And if nothing comes out, we're good. If something does come out, then I try and figure out why it's leaking. You know, maybe one of the areas is bent, or there's a hole. There's many reasons that it can leak. I get these once a month from my pharmacy. So if it goes bad, I just throw it away. But like I said, you guys can order them off Amazon. Just search dosing caps. And just remember that there are 2 different sizes. And you more than likely would probably want to get one of each to see if it fits in your medication. So that's how I do my medications. Morning, noon, and night. It's a never-ending circle. One thing that I do plan on doing in the next couple of days is I want to show you guys my night routine, how I set up everything and get hooked up and all of that, because it took a while, but now we have set up a really good routine that gets us through faster and more efficiently. So I do plan on doing that. Look out for that video within the next week. And if you have any questions about the medications, any questions about anything else, again, please feel free to leave it in the comments or post one or message me, and I will be more than happy to help you guys out. I hope everyone is having a very good day, tummy-wise, body-wise, mentally, and enjoy your weekend. Thank you.